Track 20, June 2024. MTV Unplugged in New York is a live album by American rock band Nirvana, released on November 1st, 1994 by DGC Records. My copy is the 25th anniversary special re-release on Geffen UME. This edition features the original performances along with 5 rehearsal tracks that were previously available on the DVD release. Before we talk about Nirvana, let's first talk about MTV, which will probably be a familiar name, but many of the people who are possibly watching this might not know where it comes from or why it's such a big deal. MTV, or Music Television, was a revolutionary TV channel launched in 1981. That was a great year. It was the year I was born, it was the year of the first London Marathon, and the birth of MTV. And MTV dramatically changed how people consumed music. This was all long before the internet and streaming services. MTV was the go-to place for music videos, offering a visual experience to complement popular songs. Artists would create short films or performances set to their music, and MTV would broadcast those videos to a massive audience. And it wasn't just about music. MTV also became a cultural hub, influencing fashion and language and lifestyle. The channel featured iconic programs like Total Request Live, where viewers could call in and request their favourite music videos, which was really the first time an audience got control over channel content. It also hosted influential awards like the MTV Video Music Awards, and beyond music, MTV expanded to include reality shows, game shows, original series, cartoons, and it became a staple of pop culture. Essentially, MTV was a precursor to the way platforms like YouTube and TikTok now blend music, video, and social influence. Now, for me, growing up in the 80s in the UK, we didn't have MTV at home. It was only available on expensive international satellite packages. I can remember that one of my friends at school did, and that's a sign of how significant it was that 4 decades later I can remember which kid at my school's parents had MTV on their telly. It was more common in Europe, and a lot of my European friends learned to speak English watching MTV. Well, from that and a first-rate state school system. One of the things that MTV did for content was the MTV Unplugged concert series, which were filmed and then shown either complete or individual songs were shown among the general mix on the channel. MTV Unplugged concerts featured artists playing their songs with acoustic arrangements, often stripped down, their arrangements highlighting their musicality and their vocal performances. The performances typically took place in an intimate studio setting with a small audience to create a close and engaging atmosphere. This format also allowed for a sort of more intimate and raw presentation of the music. The series debuted on November 26, 1989, with British singer-songwriter Squeeze being the first performer. It gained widespread popularity in the 90s, becoming known for its unique and memorable performance by various artists. Eric Clapton's performance in 1992 is one of the most famous. The live album from that show won 6 Grammy Awards, including Album of the Year, and Clapton's acoustic version of Layla became completely iconic. Mariah Carey also performed in 1992, and her performance helped solidify her status as a powerful live performer. In 1993, Pearl Jam's performance captured the raw energy of the band and remains a favourite among fans. It featured acoustic versions of songs from their debut album 10. And then we have Nirvana. Their performance was recorded November 18th, 1993, and it aired on December 16th. It's one of the most celebrated episodes of the MTV series. Its emotional and raw delivery showcased a different side of the band, with Kurt Cobain's vocals and songwriting taking centre stage. The album was released a year after the concert was recorded, on November 1st, 1994. It was released posthumously after Kurt Cobain's death in April. The album won the Grammy Award for the Best Alternative Music Album in 1996, and is often considered one of the best live albums ever recorded. But Let's rewind to 1993, the time of the recording, and look at where Nirvana were. Nirvana had skyrocketed to fame with the release of their second album, Nevermind, in 1991. The album's lead single, Smells Like Teen Spirit, became a massive hit and is credited with bringing the grunge movement and alt-rock into the mainstream. Nevermind quickly rose to the top of the charts, knocking Michael Jackson's Dangerous off the #1 spot in January 1992. Nirvana's sudden rise to fame made them the face of Generation X, with Cobain becoming an unwilling spokesperson for a disaffected youth. Nirvana received extensive media coverage, and Kurt Cobain's image, along with his struggles and lifestyle, were frequently in the spotlight. Whilst it was a wild success, Cobain said he thought Nevermind was candy ass, and in September 1993, 2 months before the MTV Unplugged performance, Nirvana released their third album, In Utero. The album was again a critical and commercial success, despite it being intentionally less polished and more abrasive than Nevermind, reflecting Kurt Cobain's desire to push back against their mainstream popularity. By the time of the Unplugged session, Nirvana had been touring extensively, and Cobain's personal life was marked by increasing struggles with fame, health issues, and substance abuse. The pressures of sudden fame and personal demons were taking a significant toll on him, which is evident from his behaviour and comments leading up to the performance. Cobain was reportedly miserable and worried about the band's ability to pull off a subtle acoustic set. He even considered having Dave Grohl sit out because he thought that Grohl's aggressive drumming style might overpower the band. Nirvana approached the Unplugged performance with a unique set list that was internally quite controversial. It avoided many of their biggest hits. Instead, it included lesser-known tracks and covers, highlighting their influences and paying homage to other artists. The setlist included a mix of Nirvana originals and covers, including The Man Who Sold the World by Bowie, Plateau, Omi and Lake of Fire, which is the Meat Puppets, and one of my personal favourites, Where Did You Sleep Last Night, a traditional song arranged by Leadbelly. They also performed stripped-down versions of some of their more well-known songs, such as About a Girl, Come As You Are, Polly, All Apologies and Dumb. Now, let's talk briefly about the Meat Puppets, because this was all new to me as I was researching this. The Meat Puppets are an American rock band formed in January 1980, known for blending punk rock with country and psychedelic rock influences. They became a significant influence on many alt-rock bands in the 80s and 90s, including Nirvana. Kurt Cobain was a fan of the Meat Puppets and often cited them as an influence on Nirvana's music. Cobain invited Meat Puppet members Kurt and Chris Kirkwood to join Nirvana on stage for the MTV Unplugged performance. The songs performed in collaboration with the Meat Puppets were Plateau, which originally appeared on the Meat Puppets' 1984 album Meat Puppets 2. Nirvana's rendition maintained the song's original structure, but with Cobain's vocals and guitar blending with the Kirkwood brothers' instrumentation. There's Oh Me, which is another track from Meat Puppets 2. This was performed similarly with an acoustic arrangement emphasising the song's sort of introspective lyrics and melody. And thirdly, Lake of Fire, which also comes from Meat Puppets 2. The performance of this song featured haunting vocals by Cobain, complemented by the Kirkwood brothers' backing vocals and guitar work. The whole MTV performance is highly regarded and praised for its raw and emotional delivery, particularly given Cobain's fragile state. After the performance, Nirvana continued to tour, including a tour in Europe, but Cobain's health and personal issues increasingly affected his ability to perform. Tragically, just a few months after the Unplugged performance, Kurt Cobain died by suicide on April the 5th, 1994. His death marked the end of Nirvana as a band and had a profound impact on the music world. I vividly remember seeing the news coverage of this. He'd rapidly become the face of the generation, and him taking his own life was a huge deal. Kids were crying in the street, and there were huge vigils held. And I think parents, most of all, were terrified that suicide cults might spring up in his honour. It was a really weird time, and I can't really remember anything else like it. I actually think that if the cause of death had been an overdose, the whole world would have been more comfortable with that. Following Kurt Cobain's death in April 1994, Nirvana disbanded. Dave Grohl took some time to cope with Cobain's death and worked on some side projects and collaborations, but he ultimately decided to focus on his own music, and in October 1994, Grohl recorded a 15-track demo where he played almost all the instruments himself. He used the pseudonym Foo Fighters to release the music, as he wanted to keep his identity as the creator somewhat anonymous, to avoid preconceived notions due to his Nirvana fame. Which brings us chronologically to November 1994, and the posthumous release of the MTV Unplugged in New York album. It was seen as a poignant and powerful final statement from the band, particularly highlighting Cobain's emotive voice and songwriting. The MTV Unplugged performance is often cited as one of the greatest live performances in rock history. It showcased a different side of Nirvana and emphasised Cobain's talent as a singer and a songwriter. And we will talk a little more about Nirvana another month. Thank you very much.